Hi, it's Michelle from Movement Lesson, and we're back continuing our lesson on the eyeball. Vision is very, very taken for granted, and especially as we age and as we develop, there's a way of using your vision where your eyes can just move in your head, and there's a way of using vision where it's very particular, like when I talk to you. And look at the camera. I'm working on just the eyes right now in the head. If you're not sure, go watch the video that just precedes that, links below. I'm going to be covering a functional anatomy course, and I'm also going to be covering a functional movement course. This course will be available to you, and now I'm starting to do the videos for it. These will be the lessons that tie in for you to learn anatomy and movement. I think we take both sometimes a little bit for granted. So what we were just getting used to is just the eye floating in our head. So if I'm a little bitty baby, my eyes really just float in my head. I, in a sense, learn how to see. Now, I can do this lesson where I'm just floating my eyes around, but for some of you, being adults, you might want to close your eyes to continue to experience that experience of just the eyes floating. So I'm going to do a very overlooked developmental milestone of grabbing the feet. So now for those of you that have trouble with that, feel free to grab your knees if you can. You can bolster. But if you can get up to here where you're grabbing your feet, that's great. But again, this is just fine as well. We're just getting the sensation of being a little boat, so I'm not looking for the muscular strain just yet. I want it to be successful. Again, too, you can do one leg down. You can have a pillow here. And if it's still an issue for you, you can also take TheraBands and attach them to your knees or something like that to be more like a marionette, that you can get that cross category. So I just have my feet here, and what I'm doing is I'm going to just play around, nothing purposeful, and continue just letting my eyes float in my head. But what this might feel like, sorry, I ride motorcycles, is when you're doing those twisties and the turns, you'll start to feel a natural counter in the spine or your spinal fluid. Just let that counter kind of experience. Notice I'm not lifting right foot, lifting left foot. I'm just looking for a counter. Another way you can do this too is put bands around the feet and grab. If you feel you're losing your balance, let's say, experience that. Just don't go that far that you're constantly catching. I just want your whole body sort of to act like it's a giant water balloon. This is what your baby's doing when they play with their foot. They're not saying, I'm going to lift up my right leg for 5 seconds and do this. What they're doing is they're creating movements within their whole body, which has to do with vision and their beginning spatial orientation, but also it coordinates almost all facets of functional movement, which is foot and hand movement around the eyes. They'll be able to lift their bums, which again, do it as jello. They'll be able to bring a knee to the table and then float down like fluid, knee to the table. So just try. Again, if you lose your balance, go to this position, go to this position. Put a little pillow under the knee. Put a little pillow under the knee. But if you notice, I'm not really using my muscles. I'm looking for my eyes to start countering with all my spinal fluid. I think this is a really overlooked aspect, let's say if you're doing cranial work. However, I'm just taking CS2 in a week, and that might be covered more there. Notice how, too, I can start changing the momentum of my body, but I'm really just still playing with the fluid of it. I'm not really using muscles. I'm using a weight transfer, just like if I put a weight on the scale, just like the Libra, going down and changing that within the spine. It's a very nice movement that you don't see in kids that have cerebral palsy or hypotonia, meaning that if they're low tone, you'll see two here, or the frog leg that happens, which you can't even do, or you'll see the spasticity, or the body wants to go away from itself. And it's not learning functional spinal movements, but also the reason this is such an important milestone is one of the first movements where they're learning that their feet push and the hands go away. They're learning that push-pull, which is a pre-stand. And again, they're keeping this very similar to like the Vitruvian Man, where they're learning how to go in and out of movements. They're learning their toes, and another big milestone that happens is both the hand bones and the feet bone start getting what's called articulated movements, which will be needed later for crawling, that in and out. They can push their hand bones, in a sense, the metatarsals can start to learn very articulated individual movements of going in and out. This happens also with the metatarsals, the feet bones. I'll show you on Frank, and that'll happen more in functional anatomy and also in functional movement. When you need to, leave that alone. And with that, just go back and just feel those eyes rolling. I shouldn't even say rolling. I'm just looking, just as if I was holding a bowl of water, and just feeling what it's like to letting my eyes just orbit in my head. I hope you like this video and you hit the subscribe button. I have a very extensive website. I have a subscription site for more instructional videos. I have the largest library of working with the human body, and every day it gets bigger. So please become a part of the Movement Lesson community to help you, your family, people that you work with. But I tell you, you really can improve your eye function, and at the same time, for those of you that do have those kind of issues that are incorporated with vision, it's really is a facet of your life that I don't think one appreciates it until it becomes traumatized. I'll see you very shortly. Thank you.